the Hubble telescope were timed very closely together. And I don't think that was all coincidence, because that was one of the greatest discoveries of the 20th century in science, and I frankly think it was the greatest. And yet you have a Bible that we talk about all the time that's very up to date. We believe it's really, really up to date. But how can you believe the Bible is up to date, and you can believe all of those prophecies, 1/3 of the Bible, if you don't even believe the basics that the Bible teaches? How can you possibly have faith in God as the creator and the giver of all truth? It's just not possible. Now these scientists make statements continually about that differ, dramatically from the Bible, and I think you all know that. But Jesus Christ said in Matthew 4 and verse 4 that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word from the mouth of God. And the only Bible at that time was the Old Testament, and he was in the process of creating the New Testament. So we're not only told to live by every word, but we're told in other places to proclaim that message. If you're a Christian, you are supposed to follow Christ. That's what the book says. But how many followers of a Christ out there are there that hear what the scientists are saying, and yet I just hear nothing but silence? What is wrong with that picture? What is wrong with that? Christ commanded that we live by every word and proclaim that word, and a Christian is one who follows Christ. Now we're planning on writing a book, God willing, 8.5 booklet, 8.5 by 11 booklet with all of those beautiful pictures from the Hubble telescope, and they are just electrifying. And then put all the scriptures in the Bible that talk about that, and then prove that this is all, you can prove, and we must prove, that this is all from the Creator God. And to talk about a Big Bang from nothing theory is just simply totally illogical. And why should we not say so if we believe that? And Christ tells us we'd better say so. And we do in this college. And we challenge our students to really, really prove God's existence and that the Bible is His Word. It seems to me that all Christians ought to be interested in what Christ said and be opposed to some of what is going on. Now, I'm sure many of those people are intimidated because you've got a lot of people on that level that can intimidate you, but it didn't intimidate Christ when He spoke those words and later on was killed for Him. He was never intimidated. The reason that the Hubble telescope is so effective is the Earth's atmosphere distorts the picture and blocks out a lot of the light from coming to this Earth. So they put the Hubble telescope up there 353 miles above the surface of the Earth. It makes an orbit, I believe, about every 96 minutes around the Earth. Now, we have to give the scientists credit for that. That's something to thrill us, and I rejoice in those pictures. I really love them, to watch them and be inspired by them, and yet Christ did make another statement about, their eyes they have closed. Now, how do you close your eyes? If you're talking about the Hubble telescope and you don't ever, it seems to me, mention God or the Bible, then it seems to me that's when their eyes are closed. And Christ had some pretty strong words. You see, this is pretty impressive. When you think about all those pictures, you just are so moved. You say, you might go to those guys and say, couldn't we just put in here the possibility that maybe God created all of this? Can you imagine what that would do to people in this world if they really believed that? If they really believed it, can you imagine what that means? Or what that would mean? The scientists say, well, this telescope gives us the universe. Now, that's a gross overstatement. But it does give us pictures of a slice of the universe, a little slice. In spite of what they may think, I believe that's true. So, God is about to give the universe to man. Now, that's paramount to their understanding and to ever being happy and peaceful, as you heard about earlier. That is absolutely essential. I want to read to you one scripture tonight in Hebrews 2 and verse 8. It says, you have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him. Doesn't sound like a Big Bang Theory there. And the Weymouth New Testament reads this way, for this subjecting of the universe to man. Now they talk about giving man the universe, but God literally says, I am going to give you the universe, all mankind. I'm going to give you the universe. But not yet. There's something we have to learn. Something we have to understand. I've mentioned before that when they were here on this earth before Hubble was launched, they saw a lot of black spaces out in the universe. And once they sent the Hubble telescope up there, they realized, they saw then, well, those were clusters of galaxies, at least 1,500 of them, and each galaxy had 100 billion stars. And the scientists tell us there's no way we can include God in that picture. And you know what the scriptures say in Romans 1? Paul said that you can see the invisible things from the things that are made. And we've never seen more that has been made than we have with this Hubble telescope. They ought to be seeing God out there, but they don't see God. They don't even mention God. I mean, there are many ways to prove God's existence, certainly in large number. And that's one of them, by what he has made and how it works by laws, and we set our watches by it and all of that. Amazing that they won't even entertain the idea that, well, perhaps we ought to, with our theory, include the Bible and what it says about the universe. Another 1,500 galaxies they found with not a billion stars, but 100 billion stars. And all of that was supposed to be just bang, and it's out there. It began to evolve and obey the laws out there and not crash into, the planets crash into each other and so on. Are we going to change? Will we be able to change the scientists' views? Now, some of them would be, some people would just be ashamed for me for what I'm saying, I'm sure. But I noticed that all of those men of the Bible, those great men of the Bible, not one of them was ever ashamed. Even to the point of dying, they weren't ashamed. Now, we want our students to be that way, to believe the great God and not have to go around saying, well, actually, I believe in the Big Bang from nothing theory. And we not only teach our students to what God says and all of this awesome vision, but we teach them, say, look, you shouldn't be intimidated either. These great men of God weren't afraid of anybody. And they put their lives on the line. Now that is true education. I wonder how many scientists would put their life on the line for the Big Bang Theory. The Hubble telescope